Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host, Nathan P. Butler, and this is kind of a weird episode here for this series. This is not actually about any official Star Wars home video releases. We ran into a situation just recently in which a prominent modern bootleg came to the fore in a discussion again, and for about the fifth or sixth time in probably a year, I was asked, could you please tell people about this bootleg and warn people about them so they don't buy it. And that hasn't really been the purview of the show. I've mentioned it a few times. I talk about it in comments when people bring this particular release up, and I haven't picked it up myself because it's a freaking bootleg. But it's come up over and over again. And this time, it bubbled up enough that I'm like, you know what? It's time to just address this. It's time to address what the bootleg is. It's time to address where it's being found, why it's able to be sold and look like it's being sold in a reputable way, so that we have a chance to hopefully keep viewers from basically being ripped off. You know, it's like the Clark Howard thing, right? You know, keep you from ever being ripped off and such. Kind of a consumer alert type of thing here. So, to bear with me, I'm going to have to describe what we're seeing, but it's actually kind of easy to describe because it looks like something that's official and includes stuff that's basically repackaging of bootlegs of other stuff or actual back stock being sold as if it is something new but done in an unofficial way. So basically, the way this all kind of bubbled up was that one of the regular viewers of this show and commenters on YouTube for the show, who goes by the username Vintage VHS Treasures, took the time when seeing somebody doing an unboxing video promoting this prominent bootleg as if it was real, that, you know, maybe I should tell them it's a bootleg and try to explain what it is because they've gotten ripped off. It was an innocent, innocuous request. It's not something I would usually do, though, as far as going to someone else's channel and basically telling them, hey, the stuff that you're posting is bullshit. You're wrong. That's not real. Especially when they can go, but it's in my hands, it must be real, kind of stuff. Basically, I tend to educate on this channel as much as I can. I tend to educate when people specifically ask questions. But when it comes to actually going somewhere else and looking at something somebody else has posted on YouTube and saying, hey, this is wrong, I tend not to, because people tend to get their backs up to that sort of thing. Nobody likes to be told that they're incorrect. And there's a gracious way to handle it, and there's an asshole way to handle it. Most people don't do the gracious type. Most people get their backs up, they sort of kill the messenger, so to speak. And when it comes to bootlegs, it's like, you just got swindled, and now somebody has just told you you've been swindled. Add to that the idea that somebody is on and saying, hey, look how awesome this is, and then they're being told that they've been swindled. Now it makes them look kind of dumb. It's not really about being smart or dumb, it's about ignorance versus knowledge. Ignorance isn't necessarily a bad thing per se. Ignorance just means a lack of the knowledge necessary. Well, if you don't know that this thing is a bootleg, then that is a form of ignorance. Fine. Everybody at some point is ignorant. That's when we then learn the facts. It just happens to be that maybe some other people knew about this first. But we don't tend to think of it that way. Instead, it's, wow, you just called me stupid. You just made it sound like I was a victim. Well, in a sense, you were, right? You were a victim of a bootlegger who sold you something that wasn't an official release as if it was. So yeah. But again, we're in this society now that sort of defines everyone by not only identity politics, but this idea of this victimized mentality. Everyone's a victim of something. And if you're a victim of anything, you're supposed to rage against it. Or at least just rage. And when somebody is telling you, hey, you just got swindled, you may feel completely impotent to be able to rage at the person who swindled you. And hopefully this person that we're talking about, I haven't given the name of the actual YouTuber who did the video, I don't think that would be appropriate. Hopefully that individual will go after the person that sold them the bootleg. But as of now, as far as I know, they still don't believe it's a bootleg. But there's this tendency to kind of, you want to express that anger, or that feeling of, you just called me stupid, or you don't know right, you don't know the right information, you got wrong information, but you cling to it like a life raft, despite information being provided to you, and all that boils over, and if you can't direct your rage and your anger and your angst in that moment at whoever it is that swindled you, you're generally going to go after the messenger. You're generally going to blast the person who told you, hey, you just bought a bootleg. So, that's pretty much how it wound up playing out. However, I am quite happy with the way this individual defended the bootleg, because it helped to just further illustrate some points I was trying to make to him, which I'll make in this video, as to why it would have looked legit even though it wasn't. Because his response was, this is a bootleg, then explain how Amazon is selling both Blu-ray and DVD sets for $75. Right? Along with that, when I did take the time to explain to this individual that that wasn't actually what was happening, that they just didn't seem to understand how Amazon Marketplace works, and pointed out, this is something that I've researched extensively. This is kind of my thing. Feel free to do the research yourself, but it's going to show up in the book later in the year. Yeah, I'll talk to you about that later. And yeah, it's probably going to be part of a topic on a panel at Celebration. More on that later. It's not exactly like this is BS information. This wouldn't be being put out in those types of venues to explain that this is a bootleg if it wasn't actually a bootleg. The response instead was, quote, and I pardon the language, "You're using my channel to promote your shit? Fuck off. And Amazon does sell it. Do your research." It always thrills me when some asshat who hasn't done their research tells me to do my research. That is, it's one of those types of moments. But again, focusing on the Amazon is selling this, which is an important issue to bring up here. And I guess that was what I was doing. I was going on to somebody else's channel to promote my stuff because with my almost 3,000 subscribers on here, I really, really just desperately want that guy's 16. But whatever. This is not so much going after that individual. I want to explain what the hell this bootleg is so it stops getting people, and that people don't wind up being victimized by these assholes who are out there providing something that looks really official. And that's the biggest problem right now with bootlegs. Bootlegs back in the day, you knew it was a bootleg. It had a stupid-looking cover. The cover had wrong information on it. Like I had back around, I guess it was 98-ish, or maybe shortly after that. Sometime fairly soon after I moved down here, but I can't remember if I actually owned it when I moved or if I got it right after I got to Georgia. But basically, it was the 1997 special editions on DVD. Of course they're bootleg. There was no such thing as the special editions on DVD at that point, and God, they were bad. The video didn't sync up quite right. The packages had, like, you know, it had a symbol down at the bottom for the wrong company, like had Paramount listed on it or whatever. It had some other actor that's not even in the movie listed among the cast just so they could put it there. I mean, they were bad. If you look for some of the copies of, like, the holiday special at conventions back in the day, they look terrible. Hell, that's what this thing is. This is an old convention holiday special bootleg that somebody was selling. It's just a VHS tape. It's all, like, copied. You can tell that it's not official by any means. But that was then. This is now. And today, bootleggers are much more sophisticated. The technology is now there for virtually flawless duplication of both packaging and discs. That makes it very hard sometimes to tell the difference if somebody is trying to sell you something that is basically an illegal copy of something that is real, an illegal fabrication of something that is otherwise real. But then you run into situations like this one, where they're trying to sell you something that does not exist as if it is an official release. But let's get into the topic here. So what's the bootleg I'm talking about? One of the most common bootlegs that you see around these days is basically a complete saga set of the Star Wars live-action films from George Lucas, dated 2015. What we saw in 2015 as a complete saga set was this. Star Wars The Complete Saga on Blu-ray. This is a reissue of the 2011 set. You know, this one, they just put this one into new packaging. But just like with the Steelbooks released the same year, there was no DVD equivalent of this. If someone tries to sell you a 2015 Complete Saga DVD set, it's a bootleg. It doesn't exist. There is no DVD version of this. Okay? The packaging may look sweet. The packaging may look exactly like this, only slightly taller. It is not a legit release. How do you know that? Well, number one, it just doesn't exist. right? It's not a matter of saying, well, is mine legit or is mine a bootleg? Oh, it doesn't exist legitimately? Yeah, it's a bootleg. In fact, there has never been not just a complete saga that looks like this on DVD, there has never been a 6-film complete saga set in the US released for the Star Wars films ever. It does not exist. By the same token, if you did want to see the Blu-ray cuts on DVD, how do you get them? The only way, again, unless it's the Navajo edition, to get all of them, and the Navajo edition is only A New Hope on DVD, is to get these, the DVD Blu-ray combo packs from 2013, which have each of the films on Blu-ray and each of the films on DVD. It is the only time since 2008 that the Star Wars films from George Lucas were put onto DVD. The closest thing that DVD has ever had to a complete saga set for Star Wars in the US was when you could buy both of these in 2008, which is the original trilogy set here in blue, prequel set here in red, and you could buy these together, buy them on the store shelves at the same time, and put them together on your shelves, but still not a complete saga set. And remember, what were these exactly? Well, the original trilogy set here was slim cases that included all of these widescreen releases from 2006, just repackaged without their insert, 2 discs at a time, 1 slim case each, inside a slipcover. These are the same ones that you could have gotten as a collectible tin full of the films from Best Buy in 2006, or if you went to Walmart, that you could have gotten as those comic pack editions, right? The widescreen DVD plus the comic adaptation of it in one package that we looked at recently. And what was this? Well, this was the 2-disc versions of all 3 of the prequels from their original DVD releases put into one box. So this was 2008, but it included the widescreen of Phantom Menace from 2001, the widescreen of Attack of the Clones from 2002, and the widescreen of Episode 3 from 2005, which again is the one you could have gone to Target and got with your little disc there, the little collectible coin, or at Walmart with the little Story of Star Wars pack-in, right? That, by the way, is the only time that each of the films have been released as a 2-disc DVD set. The prequels were released as 2-disc DVD sets in their original release, widescreen and full screen, but we're talking widescreen here, right? Because that's what that set purports to be, okay? And then they were put together in 2008. The original trilogy was not a 2-disc set in 2004 or 2005, was in 2006, then those were combined together into the slipcover for 2008. If you want a DVDs after that, and it's not the Navajo edition, then it's just the 3 that are along with the 3 Blu-rays in those trilogy sets from 2013 I just mentioned. If you buy that bootleg, you're getting packaging that looks like this. Claims to be from 2015. You pull out your little cover in it, you open them up, you start flipping through your discs, and your discs are going to look somewhat familiar, and I would urge anyone who bought it to follow along with me at home. What it purports to have is 12 discs. You're like, that math sounds familiar. That's right. All 6 films, 2 discs each. What about the Phantom Menace? Well, golly, it's those 2 discs. The Maul face and the battle. How cool looking. Wait, Attack of the Clones? Jango Fett and then Obi-Wan and Mace. Oh, but what about Revenge of the Sith? Wow, it's Vader and it's Yoda going into action here. Gosh, how cool. What are they? The same discs. But wait, what about the original trilogy? Those. And for Empire, sorry for hitting the microphone there, it's those. And yeah, Return of the Jedi, golly, it's those. So what's happening here? Basically, what these bootleggers have done, and I've seen 2 different versions of this out there. In one case, what they have basically done is they've taken old copies. They've taken either back stock, something in their own collections, though this is on such a massive scale, probably not. More than likely, these are ones that were mass-produced and just not sold before the versions switched and they took them off store shelves. But basically, it's Phantom Menace from 2001 widescreen. It's Attack of the Clones 2002 widescreen. It's Revenge of the Sith 2005 widescreen. It is Original Trilogy 2-disc limited edition widescreen from 2006, or all of those from 2008 in those 2 slipcovered sets. And they're just sticking them in new packaging. So all they really had to do is create slick-looking packaging, and thanks to this being released with no DVD equivalent, it's really easy to catch people with it and make them think it's a DVD version of this. I blame, in part, StarWars.com and Lucasfilm and 20th Century Fox Entertainment. I say, why? They're not making the bootlegs. Yeah, but remember what happened in 2015? They put out the news announcement. It's almost 300 or 400 or whatever it is words long, and like 10% of it was devoted to this. And all the rest of it was the hype about the steelbooks, steelbooks, steelbooks. Look at those great steelbooks. Oh yeah, and the complete saga comes out about a month before the steelbooks too. People didn't know this was out there. They didn't know it was coming for the most part, and when they see it on the store shelves, they don't know that there isn't a DVD version of this. If you do any research at all, you're going to find it doesn't exist. So how are people managing to buy these things when they are basically just either old stock, stuck in new cases and resold as if they are something new and original and legit, or perhaps in some cases the other second option the bootleggers can do, which is they make bootleg copies of these discs because it's much cheaper to do that than Blu-ray, and then stick those bootleg versions of these into those packages and sell them, which is sort of a double screwing over because at least in the one case they were legit discs, even though they were old discs and not what it's purporting to be, in bootleg packaging. That other one is just straight up bootleg all over the place. But basically what's happening is now there is a proliferation of new ways to sell things online, right? The 2 biggest culprits when it comes to seeing a DVD version of this that's not a real production and people buying it are eBay and Amazon, okay? eBay, what is eBay? eBay is just people who have stuff to sell, selling stuff. They may have set up an eBay store, but it's still just people or businesses that have stuff on hand, and then they sell it through eBay. eBay becomes essentially the way that the seller and buyer are brought together and price is determined. And then eBay is out, and it's all on you to ship it out if you're the seller, or you to pay if you're the buyer, and it's all basically a one-on-one transaction. It's just that with PayPal at one point, and then eBay, which now works through PayPal, that are separate entities, I think, company-wise now. That's all that they do. Everything else is just a one-on-one transaction. So if you're buying something on eBay, you have no guarantee that it is legit beyond the word of the person saying that it is. I would certainly suggest always look for a picture instead of looking for a stock image. Look at a picture of the actual product. But again, if it's a bootleg, these days, it looks really convincing. If it looks like a DVD version of this, one, it doesn't exist. But you're looking at it going, that looks legit. So maybe that won't tell you. Ask to see the discs. Because the vast majority of the time, they don't bother to bootleg these by putting disc labels on them that look like these. Or disc labels on them that look like the 2013 black labels that were made for when the Blu-ray cuts actually were on DVD. They don't do that. They just stick these discs in there with their labels on them. So take a look. If it's got the labels of the old releases, surprise, surprise, surprise! It's not a legit 2015 equivalent of this. The other, though, is Amazon. And that's what this one particular individual was hanging all of his arguments on. Well, Amazon sold it. Amazon sold it. I saw it on Amazon. $75 on Amazon. Damn, $75? You got taken bad. What the hell? It's Amazon, right? Well, see, no, it isn't. What many people don't get, and which is obvious if you actually look at the listings on Amazon most of the time, is that there's sort of 2 faces of Amazon. Amazon.com, the company, right? They act kind of like BestBuy.com, Walmart.com, right? They just don't have the storefront to go with it, but it's like going to a website, and when Del Rey puts out Star Wars books, or 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment, or Warner Home Video, or Walt Disney Home Video puts out a new home video release of Star Wars, it goes to Amazon, and it's sitting there in their warehouses. It's their stock, just like Best Buy has its stock, and Walmart has its stock of stuff, and then they sell it to you, right? They're the middleman between the producer and you. However, there is another face of Amazon called Amazon Marketplace, which is much, much closer to eBay than it is to actual Amazon. You know what? Let's look at an Amazon listing. In fact, let's look at that product's Amazon listing. Star Wars The Complete Saga. This is the actual Star Wars The Complete Saga Set. Option Blu-ray. You go over to the side here. You get this little side box. Let me zoom it in so you can see it here, hopefully. It says, in stock, ships from and sold by Amazon.com. And up above, it does note that you can have Amazon Prime shipping. It is eligible for that fast, free 2-day shipping here. Ships and sold from Amazon. What does that mean? Amazon got the stock as a company, is selling it as a company. It went through Amazon, just like going through Walmart or Best Buy. It is legit, for sure, because Amazon itself doesn't sell bootleg stuff. However, I'm going to click on DVD. And boy, that listing looks similar, right? That must be a legit set, I'm sure. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Easy way to tell this is not an Amazon release or an Amazon item. Look over at the side. It'll say, in stock, ships from and sold by someone other than Amazon. That doesn't mean it has to not be legit, though in this case, because it doesn't exist, of course it's not legit. But what that means is it's being sold not through Amazon itself, but through that second face, Amazon Marketplace. Amazon Marketplace is a place where individuals can come in, have a bunch of stuff, and set up a store through Amazon to sell their stuff. So if you look up an item on Amazon, there'll usually be some other buying options off to the side, if there are any of that particular item, like used or whatever. So for instance, if you go back to that Blu-ray version and you scroll it down, it says, other sellers on Amazon down there on the side. You can buy it for $85 from enticing pricing, or $98.95 from NP sales, or $101 from discount media outlet. Okay? It'll be down there. Those are Amazon Marketplace sellers. So if I go to buy something on Amazon, and they don't have it in stock, then they will show an Amazon Marketplace seller with the best price as the person with it in stock. It'll say sold by and tell you who. If there are other Amazon Marketplace sellers selling that stuff too, it'll be down there underneath. There'll be a link there that lets you go to a list of them so you can see them. The list, basically, it's when it says like however many used and new from. And if you click on it, you get this long-running list of other sellers of that item. Usually pages and pages of them, depending on what the product actually is. Those are Amazon Marketplace sellers. There is no guarantee whatsoever that what an Amazon Marketplace seller person is selling is legit, because it's exactly like eBay. It is someone sitting there who's got stuff they want to sell. They set up a shop through Amazon, put the stuff up there, and then Amazon lists that as other buying options from individual sellers, or if they don't have it in stock, we'll show it as the top in-stock item, but tell you where it's from. It's the same thing like when I buy poster tubes to put my playmats in for game stuff. Amazon doesn't sell game playmat tubes very often, so usually it's through another seller. No problem. It's their marketplace. They're using Amazon essentially as a storefront to be able to provide those products and get paid for them. E-commerce. This is also why sometimes you'll look up an item and you'll be like, oh, there's the price for Blu-ray, there's the price for DVD, there's the price for blah, blah, blah. But then you hit see more, and you have tons of other product listings for the exact same thing, or what's supposed to be the exact same thing. That is where someone could put up an old version and have it for sale on the same screen. Usually if the UPC barcode has the same number on it. That's also where the bootleggers stick theirs. So what is happening is bootleggers are either making copies of older discs or using repackaged older discs in that fake packaging that looks like this, and they're selling it as a 12-disc saga set, and they're putting it on eBay that way, which means that one of them is guaranteed to be the one popping up as the first seller because Amazon won't have it in stock because it's not real. It's not legit. So the first option you click is going to be someone from Amazon Marketplace selling that bootleg. And every other item, same thing, purporting it to be real. And Amazon barely polices this stuff. Like, my wife has an Amazon Marketplace store. My father-in-law has an Amazon Marketplace store. She sells comics, he sells cards. In theory, if we were to put out some fake comic and try to sell it through Amazon Marketplace, chances of them catching it are minuscule. Chances of them acting on it if someone reports that it's fake are minuscule. It's basically really up to the buyer and seller like on eBay, right? It's up to you as the buyer to do your due diligence and know what it is you're buying, know what is real and what is not, and do your freaking research. Not just be an asshole and be like, it's on Amazon, do your research, but actually do some research to know what actually did get released versus not. Sometimes it's not going to help because they may be actually trying to sell you a duplicate, a bootleg duplicate of something that is real, then it's even harder to tell as opposed to a case like this where it's obvious because it didn't exist officially. Can't hammer that home enough. But they're putting it out there, and you have to know what it is you're getting into. Or you need to be able to recognize it when you get it and try to hold them accountable through the system, which may or may not work depending on whether or not you're able to get a dispute resolution to actually come out your way without having to pay out the nose to then ship it back and still not getting a refund, which often winds up happening in these cases. But what happens to the bootlegger? If there's any action taken against them, all they do is just disappear and pop up on eBay, or they disappear from eBay and pop up on Amazon, or they pop up on either under a different account name set up with a different email address. For the seller side, it's up to you as the seller to have the honor to not just say, you know, what is legit, here is my item, and give information about it so people know what they're getting into, just like you want to give accurate information about the condition of something. Don't just put up and say, it's a Star Wars DVD. Ah! No, put up, it's a Star Wars DVD, it's dated such and such, it's this many discs, the discs are in good condition, slight shelf wear along the bottom of the package, blah, blah, blah. Even that bad first copy that I got of Making of Star Wars, where the thing doesn't even have a top on it, just slides into it, and it's all ratty and kind of beat up, this person was honorable. They said, this is what the condition is. Here's the price, kind of a take it or leave it. It's up to you if you decide to buy the thing, but here's what it is. Be honest about it. Problem is, we can't expect the honesty from the bootleggers because, by definition, assholes. Trying to swindle you. So you have to take it upon yourself to remain educated about the actual releases. Hopefully this show helps to do that. But just saying, well, it's selling on eBay isn't a valid excuse to claim that a bootleg is real. But neither is saying I bought it on Amazon. Or neither is saying I saw it on Amazon. Unless you see Amazon selling it. And there's another way that they can technically make this look even more legit on Amazon, which is Amazon Prime shipping. Amazon now offers a thing where you could be an Amazon Marketplace seller, but you got this giant inventory, and you can actually provide Amazon with your inventory so that when the time comes to actually ship it out, it is fulfilled by Amazon, which also means Amazon Prime comes into effect because it's shipping by Amazon, not sold by Amazon, shipped by or fulfilled by Amazon. And you'll see that listed on the thing. As opposed to ships and sold by Amazon or sold by so-and-so, it'll say sold by so-and-so, fulfilled by Amazon in those cases. But you've got to do your research and know what you're dealing with, especially in this day and age where it's so easy for anyone to engage in e-commerce through major platforms like Amazon, eBay, and elsewhere. And I'm sorry if you bought one of these bullshit DVD 12-disc versions of this and basically just got all these back again. But again, it's not real. And if you're still saying, of course it's real, those were real discs, let me offer you one more nail in the coffin. What does Lucasfilm do anytime there's a new version of a film? They get rid of the old version. As far as the marketplace is concerned, they sell exclusively the new version, right? So after 2007, see it again for the first time, you could not officially go out and buy newly released, newly issued copies of the so-called unaltered or THX versions of it, at least until they promoted it with that 2006 thing specifically for it. Why? Because a special edition superseded all the versions before it. That's why in '95 they promoted the THX Remastered Edition as the original, one last time. Right? What happened in 2004? New versions of the original trilogy come out on DVD. Old versions of the trilogy from 97 and before stopped being sold. That's not the version Lucas considers official or canonical anymore. Same thing happened in 2011. They stopped selling pre-2011 cuts of the films once they released the complete saga in 2011. Every version since then has been the so-called Blu-ray cut. Even the Navajo language edition used the Blu-ray cut of the film. So if you're still sitting there thinking, this is legit, they just happen to use the same labels as the original releases, but mine is a 2015 set, it was released alongside this, it just happens to be DVD, you're wrong, pop in your movies. Watch them. Do you have a CGI Yoda, or is it the damn puppet still? Do you have the idiotic rocks in front of R2-D2 that don't stay in place whenever they show them from a reverse angle? Is the doorway, the gate to Jabba's palace ridiculously gigantic? Do the Ewoks now fucking blink? Oh, they don't? That's because you're watching copies of the movies that were released in 2006, based on a cut in 2004, or released when the prequels originally came out. You're watching the previous iteration, the pre-Blu-ray iteration, on DVD. You did not get what you paid for. You did not get something legit. What you got was a bootleg, and that sucks. But try not to take it out on the messengers telling you that you got swindled, and put it where it needs to be, which is to put all that anger into the asshole who sold it to you in the first place, knowing it was bullshit, and laughing their way to the bank, or to the keyboard for the online banking, or PayPal, or whatever it might have been. Let me give you a helpful analogy here, okay? If you buy that 12-disc DVD set, and you look inside it, and you see that it's got those DVDs, those previously released ones, just being repackaged here in the bootleg and putting it out, but we know there was no such thing as that set as an official release, then this is akin to essentially unicorn hunting. You're going out there, you think you've just caught yourself a unicorn. Holy crap, it looks like a horse with a horn, I've bought a unicorn. Awesome, or I've captured a unicorn, or whatever, right? I've got my hands on a unicorn. Number one, you are in denial about the idea that unicorns don't exist in the first place, right? So you're assuming the existence of something that didn't. That's problem number one. But then you say, it looks like a unicorn on the outside. Doesn't make it a unicorn. Neither does having a box that looks like the 2015 complete saga set make that DVD set legit. Oh yeah? Fine. Well, I opened it up and looked inside. I ripped that horse open. I did a surgery, and what I pulled out was hearts and lungs and stuff. It looks like it's got legit parts on the inside, just like that box looks like it's got those legit DVDs on the inside. Yeah, dude, but what we're looking at here is like a horse that's been surgically altered to something to stick a cone on its head. The fact that it's got that fake cone to present a fake outward appearance doesn't make the insides legit. When you say that there's a legit heart and lungs and stuff in there, you realize that's like the heart and lungs of the horse, right? That's not a unicorn heart and lungs. It's real heart and lungs. It's not unicorn heart and lungs, right? Same thing in the box, right? I open up that box and I see Star Wars DVDs. It must be legit. Well, yeah, but you're seeing Star Wars DVDs from 2001, 2002, 2005, 2006, 2008, maybe? You're not seeing modern DVDs of the current versions of the films that would have been in a 2015 set. The insides may be legit insides. They may be organs. They may be DVDs. But those aren't unicorn DVDs, right? Those aren't unicorn organs. That's from a horse. That's somebody repackaging that old stuff. And you could say, well, this is legit. I paid money for it. I found them through the website of this company that's all about, legit raising of equestrian animals, or equi, if you want to go Latin or something, horses and that kind of thing, so it must be legit. Well, okay, I didn't actually buy it through the website. There was this guy on the website who was saying he had a unicorn to sell, and I bought it from him. who was talked about, and his listing was posted right there on that site where it's not being monitored, claiming that he had a unicorn to sell. Damn it! The site makes it legit. Nah, dude. It's just some idiot who decided to strap or build a whore onto a horse who happens to use the website too. None of that changes the reality that there are no fucking unicorns. Nor are there 12-disc DVD sets of a complete saga issued in 2015 to go alongside the Blu-ray reissue of the complete saga. End of story. No such thing. And I know I come off as kind of pissy about this, but I am. I am pissed. I'm a fan who loves this stuff, who has researched the hell out of it and loves this whole home video library and this genre of Star Wars collecting. I love to see other people get into Star Wars collecting, and it pisses me off when dickheads come out and swindle them by selling them bootlegs of stuff that they get really excited about, thinking they just found something amazing or something rare. Hey, I've never seen a 12-disc DVD version of this in stores. That's awesome! Buyer beware. It's not real. It's a bootleg. Doesn't mean you can't be excited about it, but understand that it's a bootleg. You're supporting a criminal element, in a sense, by doing that. But more importantly, you're paying out the nose for something that isn't what it should be. You're not paying out the nose, which we already do, for an official release. The real deal that actually supports the company that made it and helps keep that company alive. Instead, you've been swindled. And understand, if you're someone who bought one of these, I am not upset with you. All this anger, all this annoyance, all this, what did the guy call it? Saltiness? Ooh, love salt. Microwave popcorn just with salt. All this saltiness, this isn't directed at you, unless you are someone who now knows it's bullshit and are still trying to present it to others as if it's legit. Okay? And that actually, I don't think, includes the guy that got this all stirred up in the first place with the guy that did the unboxing, because I don't think this person has the foggiest clue what an Amazon Marketplace seller is, what the difference is between that and regular Amazon, and I'm pretty sure he still thinks that his 12-disc DVD version, supposedly of this, is legit, despite having the old version of the films in all of them. Again, you can't help ignorance without education, but there is a willful ignorance. And that is something that can be helped. You choose to stay in the dark, you choose to put the blinders on when the truth is staring you in the face, then, yeah, then you've got an issue. But I don't think that's the case here. And I don't think it's the case for most of the people who wind up accidentally buying this that wind up being a bootleg. My ire is directed towards those people out there who are making these, selling them, and will continue to do so in perpetuity, probably until the next big set comes out, when this package becomes obsolete as the fake package to use, and they just copy the newest one and slip those same damn DVDs into it and try to sell it off as if it's the real deal. It's going to happen, and there's really no way to stop it anymore with the proliferation of places like eBay and Amazon Marketplace. So please, please be educated about what it is you're trying to buy. It's not going to be 100% foolproof, but it's the closest thing we've got. It's the strongest defense that we have against getting swindled, as I keep saying, by bootleggers. Alright, so stepping back from that before I close out here, because it doesn't really seem to fit within the purview, I guess, of other episodes here. Yes, you heard right. I am in the process right now of working on a book that, because it is educational, plus some commentary, plus historical, should fall within fair use legal guidelines, like, say, the Back to the Future books, I guess, that Rich Handley and his team put out and stuff like that. Or the Star Wars, what do you call them? The Star Wars commentary books, like the new one. It's got my article in it about the early Marvel comics, A Galaxy Far, Far Away, Exploring Star Wars Comics. Stuff like this is protected under the way that copyright law works. So I am putting together a Star Wars home video, at least for the U.S. history. I've got a lot of pictures to take for it to make sure that those pictures are all copyright me. So that's going to take a little while, but I've got a first full draft that was done. I did a first edit, added some stuff. Now I'm doing another edit of it right now. My hope is to have that thing done sometime in the next few months, maybe by Celebration. We'll see. If not, hopefully by the 40th anniversary on May 25th. Just kind of crossing my fingers on that one. But also, I have submitted a panel proposal for Celebration. So I'm going to my first Celebration this year. My wife and I are both going, which is awesome because we didn't get a honeymoon, so we're going to kind of wrap honeymoon and going to Celebration in there together. So I'm looking forward to seeing all the people I haven't had a chance to meet yet in person. And we've put in a proposal for 3 of us here to possibly do a panel on collecting Star Wars home video for the collecting track. Will it wind up being on there? I don't know. We haven't heard back for sure yet. We won't hear back on that for probably about a month, month and a half. But it is something that is hopefully in the works. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, I'll let you know once the book is available. I'm going to be doing it through I'm just going to use Amazon CreateSpace, so you can have physical copies or ebooks, and the templates are pretty easy to use. And hopefully that'll be out there soon. And hopefully if you get a chance to pop into Celebration, hopefully we will have a panel, so it'll give you a chance to see that, maybe meet in person and that sort of thing. So I guess the newest news here. But again, the biggest takeaway here is just don't let a bootleg get you. And if you do, be gracious about it and try to handle it through the means that are available to you, if there are any available to you, because everybody winds up running into something like that at some point if you're a home video collector. It's just a matter of knowing how to deal with it and being able to hopefully spot them more in the future. Hopefully this has helped. Again, 12-disc DVD version of this does not exist. Not officially. It is a bootleg. Okay? Everybody got that? Class dismissed. Or something. Thank you all for watching. May the Force be with the home video viewers.